And we're really inspired by companies like Tom Shoes, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia. We need them to do what they do in the world. But those are centralized causes. Those are centralized companies. When we buy their shoes or their ice cream, we're buying into their causes and what they care about. And those are great things. But I think having a decentralized marketplace means those businesses are buying into our causes. They're buying into what we believe in and what we want them to care about. So collectively, an easier way to say that is really like we're all in this together.
Welcome to Hedera Hashgraph's Gossip About Gossip. If you are a developer, an entrepreneur, crypto enthusiast, or just trying to learn more about how distributed ledger technology and Hedera Hashgraph will impact your industry, then you'll love the episodes that we have coming up. Bookmark us, add us to your podcast app, and stay tuned.
Hey there, and welcome to Hedera Hashgraph, Gossip About Gossip. I'm Paul Madsen, joined again by Cooper Kunz. Hey, Cooper.
Hey, Paul. How are you?
Very good. So who are we talking to today?
I'm excited that we'll be having the Humankind team. So Jacob and Jeff won't be joined by their colleagues, but we're really, really excited to have them on and talk about what they built during the Hedera 20 virtual hackathon, which just ended.
Hey, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very cool app. I'm looking forward to learning more.
Thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, just to kick it off, Jacob, Jeff, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves and your colleagues' background, how you kind of came to participate in Hedera 20?
Sure, sounds good. First of all, thanks for having us. We had an awesome time at Hedera 20. It was a great experience for all of us. My name is Jeff MacFarland. I'm a creative director at an ad agency in Kansas City. My background is actually in music, of all things. Back in the beginning of the internet, I went into business with my brother, which is not a great idea to get into business with somebody you have fistfights growing up with. But I got into business writing custom composed music for regional PBS. That kind of started our own company, and we needed a website. So I learned HTML, PHP, some SQL, and then this little program called Future Splash, which became Flash, and everybody hates that now. But all that designing, that tinkering, being self-taught, having kind of an entrepreneurial side led me to a couple small startups and then advertising agency with, like I said. And then I landed at this agency called InTouch about 10 years ago, which is fortunately run by someone who embraces all the things that I kind of like to do. And met a lot of people similar to me, including Jacob and the rest of the team, Abid, Craig, and Michael. And from there, we've just been good friends and working on small projects and cool little things. And that's how we came to be.
Yeah, what about yourself, Jacob?
Yeah, so I have a background in technology. When I was 17, I actually worked as an IT manager for a computer training company part-time while I was finishing high school and starting college. And after learning kind of from experts in the industry at night, I started a software development company and signed up a biosciences company as one of my first clients. And years later, I kind of found myself working with Jeff and the rest of the team, helping our clients in the life sciences industry redefine, what's possible, and that's at InTouch Solutions. And in addition to Jeff and myself, our team was made up of Michael, Craig, and Abid, all of whom helped round out kind of the breadth and depth of what we needed to innovate, design, develop, and deliver during this Hedera 20 hackathon.
That's awesome. I'm sure your teammates will appreciate the shout out. So shout out to the rest of the Humankind team. How did you actually find out about the Hedera 20 hackathon and decide that it was something that you wanted to participate in?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. I don't know, it was a couple years ago, Jacob was actually into mining Ethereum. In his office, he had this big rig. And I think he about burned down the office 2 or 3 times, actually, which is when I started asking him about blockchain. I was kind of interested in like what the heck was going on up here and why is the office almost on fire. So it got me interested in blockchain technology. I started doing some research, which led to obviously Lehman Baird and this whole new way to kind of reach consensus. And then, that led into addressing the issue of speed while maintaining or actually improving security. So this whole idea of ABFT versus everything else everyone was doing. And I thought that was pretty amazing compared to what else I was researching. I just thought blockchain just seemed really strange to me compared to the things that I was hearing from Dr. Baird. I was fortunate enough at that time to have already invested in some early startup stuff in healthcare and other things. So I talked my wife into investing into Hedera. It was a lot of conversations, but she let us do it. We invested in it. And ever since then, I've been an advocate and a fan. So I invested in it early on. And of course, that kind of led to the mailing list. So I heard about the hackathon probably before a lot of other folks did, and was just immediately like, hey, I've got to talk to Jacob and Abed and Michael and Craig, and let's get something together and let's do this.
Jeff, I had to convince my wife to invest in Hedera as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough road to climb, but I'm glad I did. So
yeah, the conversation, gossip about gossip.
That's not one most people understand.
So Humankind describes itself as allowing people to turn acts of kindness into currency. And short form, it pays to do good things. Can you explain how that works?
You want to know how it works, or just like the basis behind it, or all of the above?
Well, yeah. What's the premise? How are you turning an act of kindness into, how are you incentivizing that?
You kind of said it. The short answer to what Humankind is it's a mashup of all these different things, like Facebook Marketplace plus Groupon plus TaskRabbit, and everything you do on those things, instead of being separate, everything you do, every transaction on that has a charitable component that gives back. So the kinder you are, like you said, the more everyone benefits. And the way that works, the couple things that we do that kind of set us apart. One, we require that everybody on the platform gives back a small percentage of anything they get. They get to set up what that is, how much it is. There's a requirement, but they get to set up custom donation rules that define what charities or causes they want to support and just how much of it goes there. And then we connect them to that marketplace of goods and services. So those are people selling things to other people like Marketplace, or businesses with special offers, kind of like Groupon, or things that they can do and provide services to other people like TaskRabbit. Or it can be just charities and organizations that need help, like food, shelter, clothing, etc., that kind of stuff. So it's more like GoFundMe in that way. But any of the transactions that take place on that Humankind platform, if you transact money or if you transact some services, those donation rules kick in, those go into effect, and money gets dispensed to the people's causes that they've set up in those rules. The second thing you asked about incentives is your kindness score, your kind score. The more you do to help, the more you participate on the platform, the higher your score goes. And a higher score can mean lots of things, but in the initial MVP that we're talking about, a higher score means better offers, better chances, like things that like higher percentages back for you, and also the causes that you want to participate in. So being kind increases your score. Doing things on the platform for others, doing things and using and making donations and stuff increases your kind score so that it begets more kindness. So in that way, we're always incentivizing people to do good things, or to keep helping each other out, or keep buying from these things and keep donating to charities, etc. We're always going to be incentivizing that.
I love the idea of sort of making that charity aspect almost invisible to the other interactions on the platform. User sets it up at the start and then to some extent forgets about it, other than perhaps seeing their kind score increasing over time.
Right. I think that's kind of the beauty of it too. It just becomes, over time, hopefully a habit. You don't really even have to do anything different than what you normally do. You just go out, and I think we had this in the video too. You go out and order some pizza, and the deal is that it gives you money back when you do that, and that money then gets dispersed to your charity. So you just do what you normally do, and good things happen.
I love the lawn mowing use case. I'm a suburban dad with an obsessive focus on cutting my grass, so that one hit home.
Yeah, me too. I actually cut the neighbor's lawn, so that's a real situation for me.
I hear you.
That's a real act of kindness that you're doing there, Jeff.
I'm trying to be good, man.
And so why would Humankind need to use a blockchain or a distributed ledger like Hedera? So what's unique about this that you really couldn't do on traditional databases?
So both of us can probably answer this question. I'll have an interesting answer, and Jacob might have one too. I'll let him talk. Distributed ledger, and specifically Hedera, we're trying to be, with Humankind, a socially responsible app or company. And we're really inspired by companies like Tom Shoes, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia. We need them to do what they do in the world. But those are centralized causes. Those are centralized companies. When we buy their shoes or their ice cream, we're buying into their causes and what they care about. And those are great things. But I think having a decentralized marketplace means those businesses are buying into our causes. They're buying into what we believe in. So, and what we want them to care about. So collectively. So an easier way to say that is really like, we're all in this together. And I think that is the key. Decentralized is key to doing something kind for the common good versus just doing something kind to this one cause because it's the shoes that I like and they do good things for them, et cetera. So I think that's part of it. That's the decentralized part of it. I think, why Hedera over other distributed ledgers, in my opinion, of course, the speed, trust, all that stuff, the transparency, that is great. Security, ABFT, that's awesome. I think there's probably not enough talk about governance because I know it's a controversial topic in distributed ledger space. But I think an app that's about charity and giving back, in our opinion, should be built on a ledger where there are strong partners and companies that exercise capitalism with a conscience, and not a place where there just aren't any rules at all. You can do whatever you want, So I think that actually is also very important to us. And I think the last thing I would mention is that Hedera, in my what I've seen, is just a kind community. So, I mean, that goes for all the people we've met, including you, Cooper, Paul, Lena, everyone that we worked with. But I mean, if you go out to, you're in this and you see these large numbers of HBAR that were sent to the wrong account and somebody gets it back. I mean, I've seen that maybe 4 or 5 or 6 times. And every time I see that, I'm just like, what? I'm in awe of that. That's great. And so I think being part of just being part of a larger kind community is also part of that deal.
Jacob, do you have anything to add there and about why Hedera, why blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, obviously from a technical perspective, I think Jeff's answer just hit on the things that we cared about the most, which is trust and transparency within, a marketplace. So we can show not only, are we tracking the fact that these funds got distributed as each user interacted, but that's something that can be, proved over time. It's auditable. That's really one of the reasons we wanted to go this route.
And just to tack on to that a little bit, one of the things we talked about when we were brainstorming some of this stuff is like, future features, not right out of the gate, but tax benefits. Charitable giving is a taxable thing. Well, now that we have a proof that goes back and we have an auditable trail, we can say, well, what did we give over the year? And what does that mean from a tax benefit standpoint? There's actually a record that allows me to make my taxes a little bit easier at the end of the year. And Hedera can be a part of that because we have these proofs, So I think that's just an extra little bonus feature that's kind of cool to tack on.
Cool. Jacob, your hackathon page refers to the importance of fair ordering. Can you talk about how that's important to Humankind, maybe the marketplace aspect you just
Yeah, absolutely. So primarily fair ordering, the way that we implemented it in our first iteration of this was just for ordering the posts. So the newest posts would come in at the top. And as people request to participate, maybe in a task. So if you were getting your lawn mowed, the person that requested to participate first would be the first person that you would review to see if you wanted them to be the person that completed the task.
That's awesome. I've been talking about the value of our fair ordering to auctions and markets for maybe 3 years now in a somewhat abstract manner. So it's nice to see a concrete app that takes advantage of that.
Yeah, and another thing that we had talked about using it for is kind of a first come, first serve. So if businesses on the platform had an offer, it could be a tiered offer. So depending on your kindness score, you could get more back for your charities. But maybe only the first 100 people that participate get that as an incentive. So obviously fair ordering in that sense would be useful as well.
Yeah, I think your page also referred to maybe a future swarm mechanism where the rewards might be contingent on when you joined the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let Jeff speak to that specifically, but that's definitely an idea that we want to pursue in the future.
Yeah, we probably had, I think we had 12 or 13 ideas, and one of them was just swarming deals, and that was the idea that you could actually give back money in real time. So if I bought something for $10, that the more people that signed on to it, the less that would actually cost. We'd all start getting money back as we go through that process. But to do that, one, you have to prove that the thing was purchased, and secondly, you actually have to start moving that money around. You can't do that with fiat, right? If everybody's 3% on a credit card or something, I have to give that back as we go. it's a losing deal for everyone. So, Hedera makes that possible, not just with the speed, but being able to do microtransactions and that kind of stuff. So I think there's some really cool potential for us to do a lot with that and unlocking certain items as you boost the deal and stuff. We've got a ton of ideas that we want to get to, but our first order of business is getting something on the main net, getting an MVP out there that we're excited about. It's going to take us a little while to get there as well. But.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. It's really cool to see you taking advantage of so many of the unique properties of Hedera that really aren't available on other ledgers, like, being able to create fair marketplaces. And Jeff, I know that you're kind of a UX designer, you have this background in music. How do you give, users their confidence, and how do you let them tap into that trust that Hedera provides? Is it important to your users that they know they're using Hedera, or is it something that's just going to be kind of magic behind the scenes?
It's a great question. I don't think we've figured out every piece and part of it, right? But I do believe that I think it's more the magic aspect. I think Hedera offers the trust, transparency, the speed, and all those things that we need. But to the user on the other end of it, it feels just like, it feels like the simplest app that I can use on a daily basis. And there's nothing that I have to really think about. Oh, I just load my wallet, or I just do this thing and automatically or automagically. The money appears and I see where it goes. I see that it goes to the Humane Society or whatever it might be. And I can see where all the other people's stuff goes too. So I think, to me, Hedera plays a huge role on the back end because of all the things that we need it to do. But I think on the front end, we're not going to see as much. We don't want to expose that. We just want people to see the kindness. We want to see how that reach of the good things that people are doing.
So no analogy to the TLS lock icon in a browser?
I don't know. I am gonna defer on that one. I don't know.
Where I'm thinking Hedera inside. Maybe we.
Oh,
well, you guys have a great logo for this. To be honest, it's the decentralized on Hedera asset. I mean, I could definitely see us pulling that through on the front end. But like Jeff said, really, we want it to just work, right? Technology should be invisible. The best technology that I've ever used isn't something that I actually see. It's something that just works. And that's really why we want to leverage Hedera. We believe that this can be built on Hedera and just work.
Paul, are we going to have to reach out to the legal team with the Hedera inside joke?
Yes, I'm already apologizing on Slack to them.
That's great. So another aspect of Humankind, which I found to be pretty interesting, is that you use verifiable credentials in the Hedera DID SDK for people to kind of build this kindness score and this, history. How was using that DID SDK?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's actually, I would say, if we had any challenges, all of the APIs and SDKs that Hedera, Dragonglass, and MoonPay provided were great. They were extremely easy to use. With the DID SDK specifically, since it's written in Java right now, our backend we actually built out in Node. So we needed to have our distributed identity AppNet be hosted kind of side by side through a Docker container that was hosting that Java site using Ratpack. So it took us a little while to figure out some of the details there. We had to add in, SSL support for the server, and then we ended up delivering it as a Docker container through Amazon's Elastic Container Service. But after we figured out, some of where we needed to change, like what is a verifiable credential, it was great that you guys had all the Postman requests included with the SDK for us to be able to test against it. So we definitely got through it. We're actually looking forward to writing an article specific to the DID SDK and how we ended up implementing it to make it easier for other people that might come in behind us. So that was, from a technology perspective, that was definitely one of the things that we enjoyed working through. And then how we used the verifiable credential, like from a business perspective, we really want to be able to have other businesses verify that that person has, a particular kindness score that they've earned over time. And I'll even let Jeff kind of add more on from that perspective.
I just make it look pretty. That was a lot of Docker and all the Node.js. I don't actually have a lot to add to that, truthfully. I just think
yeah, it's more of how other businesses would consume our kindness score. So I know we've said, maybe your insurance company cares about how charitable you are, and they can check your, verifiable credential to give you a better rate, or those types of use cases.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Future stuff down the road, I think there's so much to be done by knowing you are who you say you are and being able to trust that without having to go through all the crazy hoops that we have to jump through today. You've done it once. We know that about you, and we can prove that to other folks very easily. So I think there's a lot of use cases for that to be consumed by other verticals and things like that later on.
Selfishly, from our point of view, right, in your model, it's not like the user gets a verifiable credential at the start. They get a continuously updated verifiable credential reflecting their hopefully increasing kindness score. So yeah, that's traffic.
Right.
Jacob, did I hear an implicit request for support in Node for the DID for the identity pieces?
I'm going to be honest, we almost rewrote it ourselves, but we knew that we weren't going to have enough time during that 6-week period. But I think that it would be extremely helpful for anyone else that's using, obviously you guys have a JavaScript SDK and your Java SDK, and I'm sure that maybe that's probably on the roadmap for Hedera at some point. But yeah, that's definitely something I think that would help people out, especially people that aren't necessarily savvy in Java specifically.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I hope you write that blog post, because that'd be very, very interesting.
Yeah, look out for that soon. We're definitely going to be publishing it, and probably in the next few weeks.
That's awesome. It's, constantly surprising how much your team was able to accomplish in just 6 short weeks. Do you want to talk towards some of the prizes that you won and partner integrations that you were able to pull off in that short amount of time?
So obviously, when we were going through our ideation process, one of the things that we wanted to focus on is how could we incorporate as many challenge sponsors as possible and then align what we were building to each of their goals. So 2 of them that we identified, obviously Hedera's consensus service was at the center of all of this. You guys already know that. But 2 of the challenge sponsors that we identified as kind of having a meaningful addition and alignment to what we were wanting to build. One was Dragon Glass. So we used their real-time subscription service. They have an AWS SQS queue that you can subscribe to for real-time notifications. So as messages get posted to your topic on consensus service, you can be listening in real time to be able to update your consensus timestamp and a sequence. So that's primarily what we use them for. And then the other challenge sponsor that we saw alignment with was MoonPay. We wanted people, again, during the registration process for the technology to kind of all be behind the scenes. So we know all of the benefits that distributed ledger is providing, like obviously the low cost of transactions. And when we're talking about microtransactions, where, as someone gets paid, they're giving money to someone else. As that person receives money, they could be giving portions of that to someone else. There could be a cascading effect of these microtransactions. And so we wanted to keep, the transaction fee low, but we also know that for the average user, maybe they're not going to know how to go, sign up and fund a wallet. So MoonPay's fiat to HBAR widget was very helpful in that regard. Someone could just actually enter in their credit card information. There's a small fee attached to it, obviously, but at the end of the day, we saw that as a frictionless way for someone to get money in the marketplace. And then once money was in the marketplace, we could facilitate those microtransactions with the low transactional cost that Hedera's network provides.
Very cool. Guys, what's next? How are you going to be more kind in the future?
So I think there's a lot of stuff. We've got, on our website or in our videos and stuff, we mentioned some features. So we've got a ton of things that are waiting in the wings when we get past the initial MVP. I think, and Jacob can speak to the more technical aspects of it. I think the next 3 to 5 months are pretty busy for us to try and and work through all the little details of how we get this on the mainnet in a way that is transparent and safe for everyone to use, and is ultimately a really great product. We want to try and change the world in a small way, and I think we really believe in what this can do, and so we want to make sure it's everything that it can be. And so we're going to be very careful about it, but we also want to work hard to make sure that we get something minimum viable product up by, let's say, November or so. That's the first order of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely our immediate next focus, which is working with key partners to kind of refine our roadmap and our go-to-market strategy, make sure that we can launch that MVP. And we've already had companies that are interested in signing up. We'd love to hear from other businesses and charities. We're really looking for people to help mold the future of how we can incentivize being kind and giving back to the community. So
that's great, guys. I'm super happy that you were able to build out such kind of a really important concept and really, your whole vision within this 6 weeks. And I really look forward to seeing what you're able to do in the future, as well as your, mainnet deployment and continuous improvements throughout the next couple of months. So that's really exciting. Where can people go to learn more about what you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who's interested can visit us online at humankind.ly or email us at team@humankind.ly. And again, we'd love to hear from any businesses or charities who believe in this vision and would want to collaborate to help out and get started.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jacob and Jeff, and shout out to the rest of the Humankind team who wasn't able to join us today. We really look forward to seeing you on the mainnet.
Thank you both so much. Really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
You've inspired me. I think I might give this kindness thing a try.
We look forward to seeing you sign up, Paul.
He's going to stop mowing his neighbor's lawn unless they download the app.
Thank you for listening to Hedera Hashgraph's Gossip About Gossip. If you liked the episode, please subscribe, rate and review, and also share and tell your friends.
Or connect with us on social media like Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Hashgraph, particularly if you want to leave us feedback on the podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.